Rosecroft Raceway presents its biggest card of the year when it has the $125,000 Potomac Pace on Sunday, November 17th, and that's what we're here to discuss today. It's an interesting field, Matt. 8 horses, and almost all the 8 can win, as far as I'm concerned.
It's more of just an interesting field. It's a stacked field. I mean, this is a great field from top to bottom. I mean, and even just the way the post shook out makes things more interesting as well. It's worth noting this is a special race card, racing Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. post time. So it's not part of the normal schedule, but it's a specially scheduled day that hopefully attracts a lot of attention. Great race.
You'll notice on there we left the AE in South Beach Star because we're shooting this video before final changes. So there's always a chance that that horse could get into the field. We're not expecting it, but who knows? We're going to take a look at a race that all these, a good portion of these horses came out of, which is the Breeders' Crown Open Pace Final. And this race completely fell apart. Buckaban Hanover was on the lead. Sitting in the pocket there was Ruthless Hanover, and charging from the back of the pack is Coach's Corner to eat them all alive, Matt.
Yeah, it kind of looks like an old school Meadowlands race with a zooming by race call, I think you could use. Yeah, like you said, the race falls apart. You see in the middle of the pack, the 6 and the 8, which are By the Missile and the Buck of a Hanover, the 2 featured horses coming out of in that race, and probably coming into this race, just collapsing in the final 16th. And I don't know how much you can take out of that race in terms of like trips or whatever going forward, but because it was a wild finish, a wild result, difficult to have. So I mean, I don't know what nuggets of information you can gain out of that with these returning horses, but yeah, I mean, it obviously is the featured race coming into this one, and we'll see how it goes after that.
Well, looking at this 8-horse field, I'm going to look at it from the 8 back, just because we just saw that Breeders' Crown clip, and the horse that finished highest of this group in that race was Ruthless Hanover. To me, he gets a lot of kudos for finishing 3rd there after being part of the early pace, and he hung around better than any of the other horses did.
Yeah, actually finished 4th, but he was just beaten for 3rd. He's only a little over a length off winning after that whole late scrum. We know Ruthless Hanover's game. We know he's powerful on a 5/8 mile track. We're getting George Napolitano back in the bike. I can't envision any scenario where he's going to want to get away 8th. This horse's best game is speed, and more speed. And do you think he's going to clear the top? Because I think he can.
I definitely think he can, and he's proven that he's great on a 5/8 mile track. Right. He's the record holder, I think 46-3 maybe on a 5/8, and he's won 4 or 5 starts this year on a 5/8. So clearly, that's a track that suits him. Another horse that seems to do pretty well on the 5/8 is Little Rocket Man, who has mostly been on the Midwest. He's taken a shot here on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, I got kudos to the connections for I guess accepting the invites. Listen, he's been a solid horse for years, and he's in the midst of a career year. I don't know what other accolades you can give this horse other than, yeah, maybe this is a bigger test against the top Grand Circuit type horses. My only concern is if Ruthless Hanover fires, can off the gate, can Little Rocket Man match strides with him early? And if he can't, he may be relegated to the back of the pack, which we've seen it happen before in this race, but probably the back of the pack is not where you want to be. So I do have my concerns about his ability to be not to be out sprinted, let's say, when the wings open.
8-5 on the morning line was 2-5 in the Breeders' Crown Final, where I thought he was a little bit flat. Well, listen, he came first over, so he has an excuse to some extent, but I thought he was a little bit flat, was By the Missile. Does Giwner gone out of the gate here, trying to get position with the 7 and the 8 potentially leaving?
I mean, that's another good question. Basically, overall, his body of work this year By the Missile, I have to assume the connection is considered a disappointing year due to injuries and circumstance and other things. But yeah, 2-5 was insane, I thought, in the Breeders' Crown Final. That's and he's going to be bet heavily here, maybe as much on reputation as on actual form. But yeah, Yannick's another one that has to be go forward here. Maybe he tries to leave, and if the race is strung out a bit in the early stages, he can tuck third or fourth. Maybe the pace slows. He can try to brush the lead. I don't know if that's going to happen. If Ruthless Hanover makes the front, I don't think there's going to be any slowing on the front end. So he's another one who kind of uncertain what his trip is going to bring, and I'm not thrilled about taking him at what figures to be around that price, 8-5, 2-1, something like that. I think this field is too competitive, and he's just not sharp enough, I think, to accept low odds.
As I stood corrected, El Rey, who's 25-1 on the morning line here, was actually the highest finisher from that Breeders' Crown in this race. He finished third at 150-1. And if you look at his recent form over at Yonkers after that, it was pretty darn good. I spoke to trainer Andrew Harris. He said that this is one of those 4-year-olds that just didn't quite get it as a 4-year-old and is just finally starting to realize himself as an older horse.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the rally in the Breeders' Crown, and obviously that proves he is capable. But I get the feeling, even from a good mid-pack post, he's going to be more of a trip-dependent horse here. I don't know if he can leave or be able to.
He can leave, according to Harris. He says this horse can blast off the gate like anyone.
But you know what? Most of these horses can blast off the gate, or at least their trainers will attest to that. I agree. 25-1 maybe is a little bit overstating his lack of chances here, so to speak. He definitely has a shot here, but he will be double-digit odds, and I think he's going to get lucky with some sort of a trip, because even if he does fire out, does he have to yield to outside speed? Does he get stuffed in the hole from inside speed and then get shuffled? I don't know if this horse can make multiple moves.
Luca Fallis is 20-1 on the morning line. He's stepped up from time to time, but can we ever trust this horse? You just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, no, I actually have a feeling that he's going to show up with a good effort here. Yeah, we've seen flashes of brilliance from him. I mean, he's been a solid earner for a smaller outfit in the Michael Russo barn when you consider the top flight Grand Circuit horses. He's certainly versatile. He certainly has a good enough post. He has a patient driver. Jordan Stratton is his regular driver, and I can see this guy getting some sort of live toe in this race and being capable of finishing something off late. It wouldn't surprise me at all at what's going to be again double-digit odds.
Arguably the leader in the Dan Patch Award voting for the older pacer of the year is a buck at Hanover. He rarely misses the board. Before the Breeders' Crown, where he was used hard, he was right there every single week, second, first, second. I mean, every single start, he gives his all, tries hard. Do you think Dexter Dunn's going to leave in this spot? Because I have a feeling he's going to take a more patient approach.
Yeah, he might have no choice but to take a more patient approach. It's funny, we go down the line and it's like this one's leaving, that one's leaving, this one's going to leave. And maybe Dexter Dunn has the tactical edge being inside those other horses. If we want to talk about a horse that can make 2 moves to secure command, or just 2 moves, a tuck and a grind, this is the guy. And he definitely deserves the respect to be low on the morning line, or the favorite or one of the favorites based on his body of work. But again, he's only won 5 races on this year. So while he's there every week, can we expect him to finish it off? And again, at short odds, do you want to take a horse that is always around but doesn't finish it off that often?
It's My Show is coming off a prep race where he basically sat at the back of the pack, came charging home, had no chance, but was absolutely loaded with pace. And he's proven time and again that if he gets a trip, he can win a race like this.
Yeah, you know what? If he could sit the rail and get a trip and not expend that much energy and get clear, then yeah, he'll charge home. But it doesn't always work out that way, because you get jammed in traffic, or if you want to take a patient approach and get lucky, it often doesn't work out that way. So I've liked this horse throughout his 4-year-old season, but I don't know. I see him sitting mid-pack and just hoping to shake free later or get lucky, and it may or may not work out. So although I've used him a lot in the past over the season, I regretfully going to toss him.
I've used them a lot too, and I really haven't gotten rewarded as much as I'd like. The one horse is Charlie May, maybe a horse I don't use that often. He's 6-1 on the morning line. Is that a little low for this guy?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit low because you know we maybe that's more on reputation also, and he takes money based on reputation. Has he been a solid horse the last couple of seasons? Yeah, but I think at this stage he's just more of a open handicap type horse. You know, whether it be at the Meadows or the Meadowlands or in Ohio. Again, he's always capable. We've seen him step up, and we've seen him step up with big odds. But
Every time you count them out, Matt, he comes up and
I
bites you
know,
in the butt.
I know. As I'm going, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. I just he like I said, he often doesn't present much value based on reputation. I think a lot. So yeah, I mean, if he's bet anywhere around his morning line or projects to be around like 5-1, 6-1, I don't think I'm going to use him.
Well, we've successfully reviewed the field without giving out our picks. So now we're going to do that. We're going to put them up on the screen here. And you can see that I'm going with a Buckabet Hanover here, mainly because I just think he has a big tactical edge with his post position. There's a lot of potential speed in this field, whether you think El Rey's going to leave, By the Missile could leave, Little Rocket Man. There's a lot of potential speed here. And I think it could potentially set up for him to be a little bit more patient, not have to be used as hard as he was in the Breeders' Crown. That being said, I really do respect Ruthless Hanover at a decent price on a 5/8 mile track. You know, he's shown time and again that, he can gun out of there with the best of them. And once he puts his head down, it's very hard to pass him. So those are the two I would key in on top. I'm going to lean towards a Buckabet Hanover while you're going to lean towards Ruthless.
Yeah, I like the returns of the 5/8. I like the returns of George Napolitano, who's done plenty of good work with this horse. In a way, I kind of like the 8-hole because for it's obviously easier to leave from the outside on a 5/8 versus a half, and we've seen him have trouble on the half before. But yeah, I mean, value wise or getting a price, I kind of like him on the 8-hole, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that he can loop this field, and if he makes the front, I don't care how fast or how slow he goes. Yeah, he's going to be stubborn, and I don't see anyone passing him. With that said, if a Buckabet Hanover can sit a trip behind him rather than cut the mile or be forced to cut the mile like he did the Breeders' Crown Final, Buckabet Hanover certainly can roar by this Ruthless Hanover late, but I'm going to take a stab that Georgie Knapp can make the front and dig in, which we've seen him do 100 times in the past with this horse.
Well, it should be a really exciting race. We'll have free pass performances, and you can watch all the races live. You can check out the QR code on your screen in order to get to that page. 3 o'clock Sunday, Rosecroft Raceway. Be there. Good luck.